younger and what they have to go through. So you're starting to understand them and see them as equal. You know, when you use the word youth, that's positive. This group out of 500, so it was still the largest political party in Thailand. The average age is my age, 44. Out of that 145 MPs, the average age of our MPs of our party is 44. The youngest is 25, so that's the minimum legal age. So we have 25, 26, and things like that. And the reason, you know, to answer your questions directly, the reason why we won is because of hyper-local precision politics. And how we want to understand each district, we have a framework that we use. It's the candidate, the competitors, the count, and the constituencies. So we understand exactly the constituency of a particular district. 55% is lower than 40 years old, so even younger than me. So that's when we hyper-local our candidate to stand against the competitor. That might be a veteran politician, 5-time MPs who could not deliver a thing, and who might not even show up because he's aging very much, for example. So if we understand the precision politics, the hyper-local, the big data of all these things, based on these framework, then we know which candidate, based on merit, that they will get a chance to run for that office. And that's how, when we use all these framework together, strong candidate, weak competitor, the previous count we lost by 5% margin, so it's a quick win, it's a low-hanging fruit. We know that the constituencies are old or young. When we combine them together, then we have a political canvas of how we prioritize resources. And that's why the party was lean. Like, the main source of financing was $15 donation. We didn't ask for money from anybody else. So when it comes to these districts where the 25 and the 26 years old, when it comes to these districts where the 25 and the 26 years old got the seat, students paying it forward, imagining when we were young. You have to empower them with opportunities and empower them with skills. Usually it's one or the other. Like, you give them the opportunity and you throw them into a pack of wolves without teaching them the skills that is necessary. Some of the time, you know, you're empowering them the skills. They have the skills of artificial intelligence and big data crunching and things like that. But you don't give them the opportunities. You know, as a mid-age, at the age of 44, you know, I want to pay it forward, and I don't want the younger generation to have to go through what I had to go through. So I'm giving them both the opportunities, and I understand that I have to develop the skills that they needed to become a good member of parliament at 25, where credibility is at risk. They'll ask you, you know, you're 25 years old, what do you know about politics? What do you know about this region? But you got to give them the skills too. And regardless of where you are, it's 3 skills: analysis, communication, and upward management. In a nutshell, analyze is ability to use logic to gather information, analyze it. Communication is obviously, you know, explaining what's inside your head, how you slice and dice problems into sizable chunks and you explain it to the people. And then the last one is upward management, which is a skill. How do you have a constructive, candid conversation with people who are older than you or from a different group? It's a skill, it's like a muscle. You got to really teach them and learn from one another of how we can have this kind of things. Because if you don't do upward management, especially in Asia where seniority is a thing, then you don't, no matter how good you are at analysis, no matter how good you are at communication, you're not going to be able to obtain your seat at the table where you give them the opportunities, and that's how they will prosper.
Thank you so much, Peter. Before we get the final thoughts from the panelists, the remaining 3 panelists, I would want to ask whether we have a question or 2 from the audience. Yeah, we have one question there. Can go ahead.
Hi, my question is for Peter. So the Move Forward Party not only won young voters, but also won in districts with like military people and also senior citizens. So how do we create an electoral narrative that energizes young people to vote, but also appeals to the general population?
When the panelists answer, we are coming to conclude. Any other question in the audience? If there's none, I will ask Peter to answer that question, then we have the final thoughts from the panelists.
I think I already answered. It's precision politics and hyperlocal. So we want the oldest district, average age of 78, very old. We understand that for them is pension, for them is universal design so that they can continue their lives. We understand that they are looking for help on care economy on how they can go to the hospital easier. So that's what we propose, and that's why the candidate is trained to tackle the pain point of people at the average age of 78. And then if you go to Phuket, down south, that's where the average age is 42. It's a different pain point, and we have a candidate that goes exactly to that.
Thank you very much. I know the question has been elaborately answered. I will come to you with probably your
ดูคลิปจบแล้วอย่าลืมกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามกดกระดิ่งให้ด้วยนะครับ